So actually, I want to talk about a serious topic today, especially about our owners and why I don't think so. They need to be in this club. And to be really honest, many people have asked me about give specific details, give why they should not be here in the club. And people have a lot of backing around him. And these facts, which I'm going to say right now, I'm going to say three facts with proper details on why Enic, Levy, any managers come to this club is not going to achieve anything, is not going to win anything, and if they're going to stay over here, they're going to be trophyless until they sell the club. And there are a lot of reasons behind it. Actually, before I go into why they are not good enough for our club, let me also bring some positives about what they have done, because a lot of people have this Enic supporters a split. Some people don't want them, and some people want them because of certain things. And I will get into that first. I do applaud them for what they have done what I've done to the stadiums, what they have done to the academies, not in terms of footballing wise, but in terms of how they've developed it. One thing is to develop a football stadium with that much investment in with that much planning, with the construction workers which is needed, with the people who is around it, is a really great achievement, and I don't deny it. And to build a stadium in London and to get it done in such a way to be like a very beautiful stadium, which I do agree is one of the most beautiful stadium I've ever seen, to get it done in such a way is really good, because one thing, it's going to appeal the other investors, it's going to appeal a lot of people who want to infuse money into the club. A lot of brand sponsorships will come into it because they know what the value of the club is, how much their values may have increased in terms of business wise, not in terms of footballing wise, in terms of business wise, how it increases, because the stadium is not only be used for footballing entities, it's going to be used for other things in comes into action, which is the boxing, concerts, and all the other factors. So that's got to be brand sponsorships. So I get the fact, but to get the stadium done is an amazing effort. I do not deny it. It's one of the best stadiums to be built in the recent years, and I do agree with it, and I don't deny it. The second thing is building the academy facilities to use top class facilities. It's amazing, it's beautiful, I do agree, I don't deny it, and it's a wonderful job to get it done. It's superb, and I do applaud him. And as a businessman, I admire him. As a businessman, I do admire him. I have no denies of what he has done to raise the value of the club, to raise the in revenues, the income, the value, the brand value of the club, the global supporters of the club, in terms of global marketing, everything. It has increased in the last 6 to 7 years. In the business aspect, I can see it. I can see what he has done, and I do agree with it. But but when it comes to that aspect, he's very ambitious. He wants the best. He wants everything to be the best. When it comes to sponsorships, we don't have a sponsorship because he wants the best sponsorship. It's to be the top sponsorship in the world. And he wants the best money to be infused in it. He wants the best person to come in to sponsor money. So he wants the best in that. When it comes to building the stadium, he wanted the best architects, the best construction workers to be in it. When building the academy, he wanted the best. He wanted everything to be the best. When building the stadium, when building all the other facilities which is going to come, he wants the best. But but when it comes to the footballing aspect, it's never the same, and it's never been the same. That same vision, the same mission, the same values which he has for the club is never reflected in the same way of what he does with the club. And it's very horrible in the ways he speaks about a lot of things, and I'm gonna go into it. I'm gonna go into it. I want to bring in facts of why Levy needs to be out in our club and why he needs to go. And I want all supporters who have questioned in a lot of channels which I've gone and talked have questioned me on what's the reason. I'm going to post this video in all social medias, and as I've mentioned, in social medias, my YouTube channel, to prove why he's not good enough for our club. So let's go into the first aspect, which I really wanted to talk about. Okay, so this is a topic which people have been talking about: sustainability, right? Sustainability. Daniel Levy has been a really good businessman because he's able to build a sustainable brand. We haven't spent like Manchester City, who have broken the FFP rules, have paid. Okay, that's a different aspect of what we should not be talking. But they have paid the lawyers, they have paid this to get over with the FFP laws. They're not being sustainable. Look at Spurs, they've been sustainable. They've built a brand. They've maintained the Champions League positions for the recent years by not overspending like the other clubs. We have been in the top four, top six. We've every time been a European club, not challenging, but we have been in the European stages for longer years. We're not overspending a lot. Okay, but my first question is, what's the main motive of this club, which I don't understand from the people who are saying Enic in. So if we are finishing in fourth to sixth, then Enic in fans moan a lot about why is Eric Dyer in, why is Davinson Sanchez in, why are some players, I don't want to name the players, why are these players still not good enough players in? Because if you want to see Enic in, and if you want to see a sustainable brand, and you agree with how he's building sustainable, we are going to be in the fourth to sixth position. We're never going to reach the first position. So these players anyway give us four to six. There's no denying in it. We're going to finish fourth to sixth with sustainable players coming into the market. Will every time be a fourth to sixth team or fourth to seventh team. That's not going to be not going to be into the action, right? And another factor which is talked about is our loan payment. We have huge amounts of loans. We have huge amounts of loans which need to pay. We don't have the money. We don't have the money to spend on transfers. We have also faced a COVID situation, and we have lost a lot of money. And I don't agree with it. I deny with it totally. So Spurs has taken 637 million euros for stadium loans in 2015 or 16 to finance further things for the stadium, because they had projected around 500 and 600 million for the project to be, but the other cost which increased the stadium to be a 1 billion stadium, so they had to finance. Obviously, let's be really serious, you can't finance a stadium with your own investment. Even if you have the investment, no businessman is going to pump in their own money. They're still going to take loans. So that's another factor of the financing section. But they've taken 637 million in loans, which has the 23-year-old maturity period with a 2.66% interest rate. So these are the two things. I'm going a bit into the finance part because I want to talk about it. So looking at the exact figures of how much we need to pay in the 23-year-old period, it comes around 35 to 40 million per annum per year to be paid to the banks. For a club like Spurs, which has generating lots of revenues, coming to the profits part, then people come and say revenues is not everything, profits is also there, finance statements has profit and loss accounts, it has balance, you're an idiot, revenues is not profits. Yes, I'll come into it. Okay. um so revenues, I know what the difference is, and I do agree. So 35 to 40 million is being paid in loans. For a club like Spurs, paying per year 40 million euros, which is generating around 400 and 500 million, 300 to 400 million in just revenues. We have generated 170 million just in footballing revenues, right? Football, just in footballing aspect. Then you have boxing, then you have concerts, which gives you another 30, 50, 50 in everything. We're generating around 300 to 400, max goes to around 500. So our club is generating huge amounts of revenues. Let's go to the profits part. Even if the club is making a 20 million, a 30 million, or 40 million loss, it's still sustainable because the club is generating revenues in terms of sponsorships, in terms of marketing, in terms of the stadium, in terms of different revenue streams. It's sustainable because the money is scaling year in year out, year in year out. The club is getting money year in year out, except 2019 and 20. Because of COVID, the only revenues which dropped was stadium revenues. Stadium revenues in terms of the money which fans go into the stadium and pay. That went down. I agree with it. That was one of the part which went down. But since COVID has been gone down, sorry, and people have come into the stadiums, we have seen a rise in the money which has come. So that's one thing. So when people come and say we need to pay money for our stadium loans, I can't accept the fact we are paying 40 to 50 million and we have enough money from different revenue streams and different investments to come into action, uh, to be spent in this club, and it can be spent much more than what other clubs can spend, much more than take out Manchester City, because they generate almost the same amount of revenue, but they also infuse a lot of money. But even if you don't infuse a lot of money, this club with their own money can generate a lot of investment into the club. Now, when I'm talking about investment, the money factor, we do have the money. So when the club comes and says, I don't have, our club doesn't have money to pay for, we can't overspend, I don't agree with it. And we don't have money to pay the wages, I don't agree with it. They do have the money, they just don't have the best interest as a club to pay for top players and to give money to the top players, because they don't want to give away their money, their investment, to take the extra risk to reach the first spot. They don't want to do it. So that's the factor. It's not that our club doesn't have the money. So I can't accept that fact. That's another thing. And this year, 2022 is going to end. The 2021 and 2022 season, Tottenham Hotspur Football Club has received 161.5 million in revenues, which is the record earning revenues in the 3 to 4 years footballing history. And to do it after the COVID period, to do it is an extraordinary job. And now when Daniel Levy comes out and gives statements, not Daniel Levy, but when I hear rumors coming out and saying statements that this club doesn't have the money, I can't accept it. I can't accept it. This is bullshit and I don't agree with it. Right? And yeah, so we're talking about profits. Even if they're making that less profits, is not an issue. The second factor, football, the academy. Our academy, forget the infrastructure, is one of the worst academies to ever been built in the footballing history, which can't produce any talents in the last 5 to 6 years. Can't produce talents, and even the talents which we, even if any kind of talents we have in this in the academies, because I've seen a lot of players. We do have talents. We do have talents. Academy is not shit. I do agree. There are few players which have talents, but there's talent, and there's next step is talent to first team. Talent to the first team. Getting into the academy is a big thing, but taking from the academy to the first team is another big step in football. The problem is we don't have proper coaches in the academy setup for us, for our players to take that next step. Like Chelsea, like Manchester City, within few years can produce more, will produce talents. I do agree with it. I've seen a lot of videos from how Manchester City academy is doing. Ajax, but they have a different model. That model is dependent on the this thing. Barcelona, don't need to talk about. So these clubs know how to nurture these young players to take the next step. The players which have the talent, the raw talent, to take the next step. We don't. We don't. The reasons why we don't have a set manager, we don't have a set philosophy of this club. What's the club philosophy? Do we play, we once hire a defensive manager, we once hire a attacking manager, we once hire a mixed type. It's every time mixed. It's every time mixed every time. When you have Mauricio Pochettino is a different philosophy. Jose Mourinho is a different philosophy. Antonio Conte is a different philosophy. So each manager has its own philosophy. One manager is playing four at the back. Antonio Conte plays three at the back. Mourinho plays four at the back, but much more much more pragmatic. Then you have Antonio Conte playing with a wing back system. Mourinho doesn't have a wing back system. uh, Poach plays with the high line. So when you have different philosophies, academy players can't take the next step. So the football club, the academy of Spurs Football Club, the players over here is never going to take the next step because managers who come over here don't have a set philosophy. Brighton is low down the league. I do agree with it. They have a philosophy. They took out Graham Potter. They bought in De Zerbi, who plays the similar kind of football. It's not the other side of it. Let's go to Wolves. They have a pragmatic approach on how they play. Nuno, Bruno Lag, Lopetegui all have the similar kind of philosophies on how they play each other's football, right? You go to any club in this history, whenever they hire or fire, the successful clubs have a kind of philosophy. Barcelona has the Barcelona way of playing. So whenever they hire, but they're screwed in the recent, but they want to fine tune that way of playing, the Barcelona way. It's gonna take years, but they have that philosophy. Real Madrid have their own philosophy of how they play that kind of football. It's being more aggressive, mentally prepared, mentally good players, talented players, hit and break. So they have that kind of philosophy. Liverpool, manager, Jurgen Klopp, gegenpress. That's their philosophy. So they have their own philosophy. Manchester United has been a huge flop in the recent years. But if they have Erik ten Hag in their squad and they're going to build their team around it for with this manager, then they're building that kind of philosophy for the future years. Keep the manager, build around him, and do it. And then bring in academy players into it to increase on how we play. That's why as much as Harry Winks was useless, is not as I'm not saying useless, it's not good for what we need to achieve. His performances was in a up because how we play and Winks played matches with the philosophy. As a player, when you know what kind of football you're playing, you play better football. Same with Bissouma. Bissouma has played in a Graham Potter's high line pressing system. And then you come and play a pragmatic approach, a bit more different. You can't play the same kind of football. Same for Richarlison. So the players we buy, it's not the same. It's not the same, and the academy players we buy is not the same philosophy. We don't know what we're doing with it. And in our academy players, we have only produced talents like um, Kane, the Judas Campbell, and Crouch. These are the only three players we have produced. Shambolic from the club's perspective to have only three players, which I could name from our academy, to reach a top quality player in recent years. It's very shambolic. It's very heartening to see this type of bullshit stuff which is happening in the club. Now let's go to the transfers, right? The transfers, right? Um, so Daniel Levy joined this club in 2001 and 2002. So I'm not going to talk about the early years because I was young. I was not supporting this club, so I don't know much about it. But I can at least name the players that have been in top in the last 22 years. The top players who are not world class. We didn't buy them as a world class, but were top players for us. One was Berbatov, Sheringham, Robbie Keane, Defoe, Aaron Lennon, Bale, Modric, Kyle Walker, uh, Danny Rose, Van der Waart, Harry Kane, Son, Dembele, Lloris, Jan Vertonghen, Eriksen, Dele Alli, and Toby Alderweireld. Yeah. So these players, so I've named around 1, 2, 3, 15 to 16 players. In 22 years, we are able to find 15 players in talent. Recruitment side, horrible. Daniel Levy, again. Sustainability is a lie. Academy is a lie. Transfers is also a lie on what he has done. So none of them has improved under Daniel Levy. Horrible, horrible. Right? Now let's come to Daniel Levy the liar. That's the third part I want to talk about. Let's go to the challenge message. It's the wonderful message I've ever read in the footballing history. One of the biggest liar in footballing history. One of the biggest owners in footballing history of biggest lying. We shall focus on the recruitment of new head coach, which was before Nuno got hired. We are acutely aware of the need to select someone whose values reflect those of our great club and return to playing football with the style for which is known. Free-flowing, attacking, entertaining. While continue to embrace our desire to see young players flourish from our academy alongside experienced talent. So whatever bullshit which he has said has nothing of that has replicated. Free flowing attacking talent. That's not Nuno's system. That's not Conte's system. So I don't know what the fuck he's saying over there. Okay? And the second thing which I want to talk about is continue to embrace to see young players flourish from our academy alongside experienced talent. Yes, totally. Our academy, which I've explained, has never produced young players and will never produce young players until we have a set philosophy, until we have a set manager who constantly work back and forth with them. It's never going to happen. So that's another lie. With experienced player, the only experienced player which we have bought in the recent years is of proper talent is Ivan Perisic, and and he's also getting old. He's not still the same player. So when it comes to experienced player, it's not of the same caliber of what they are of right now. When it comes to academy players, we never nourish and attacking football, free flowing football. So everything is a lie. So whatever this guy says is a liar. So what makes me believe that I need to believe in this owner? It's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. And no plan, no philosophy, hire and fire strategy. 15 managers in the last 22 years, which has produced one trophy. Glenn Hoddle, Martin Yole, Clive, um, Wande Ramos, Harry Redknapp, Villas-Boas, Tim Sherwood, Pochettino, Jose Mourinho, Ryan Mason, Nuno Santo, Antonio Conte. Right? I'm pretty sure I mentioned all the 15 managers' name. that has produced only one cup in the last 22 years. So transfer spend is another thing, which is we are bloody 18th in the last 5 seasons, which 262 million spent, which 219 million sold, with 43 million in net, and net spend per season is 8.7 million, which is generating a club record revenue of 300 million. And you have clubs which is a part at Manchester City, but Manchester City has the purchasing power to buy 747.4 million in what they can do in the last 5 seasons to boost, because they have one bloody manager which they trust, and they kept on backing, and that won them the titles. That won them 5 Premier League titles. Not like us having so much money, making so much things, making so much revenues. We have the infrastructures, right? We have the infrastructure. We have everything in it. We have everything of whatever we need. All we need is a footballing idea, a footballing genius to just implement into the club for us to raise the bar and win titles and trophies. We are not far behind. We are never far behind. It's just taking the extra step, and we never do, and we will never do under Daniel Levy, and it's not going to happen. I don't understand why fans support him. Why fans support him? It's never going to happen. It's what I've explained is seen. I've explained each and every fact in detail, from the finance sector of what his ambitions is and what he wants to do to what we want is totally doesn't align. What the fans want and what he wants. The fans which really want us to win trophies, not the fans who want to um, pat his back because they have a lot of sponsorship deals. They work with Daniel Levy. We can't speak against them. The ones who want to win trophies don't align with what we want to do. So when he gives statements like this, saying everything we do is in the long-term interests of the club, I have always been and will continue to be ambitious for our club and its fans. When he says this, right, I want to ask him this question: what is the club ambition? What are your ambitions? I don't understand. Is your ambition to finish top four? Is your ambition to be a sustainable club? Is your ambition to just to be in the top six, to just be in the European stages, to just be that of a club, of a European club, just stay over there, just battle around the best? Is that's what your ambition is? Then yes, but don't say ambitions for a club and its fans. So when you're saying it's fans, we have a different ambition of what your ambition is. So I don't get what's this. And another thing is, regardless of the ambition, regardless of the ambition, what is the plan for this club? What is happening in this club? We have a manager who has 6 months left in the contract, whose ambition doesn't match with the club, whose ambition doesn't match with the club. So why is he still here? Why have you hired him? I don't get the logic behind that, right? Second thing is, why are you not why are you not backing Antonio Conte? You have this much money, this much revenue. We have infused another 180 million into the from the shares which you have sold, and you infused 180 million of extra money. So where is the money going? Where is this Champions League money going? Why are we not signing defenders? Why are we not signing our right wing backs? Why are we not backing the manager in terms of his system? When people say the summer is backed, what is he backed? A backup striker? Clement Longley is not an answer to our defense. Jet Spence, he doesn't want. Bissouma was cheap, so he got him done. Fraser Foster is a second backup goalkeeper. Who else did we sign? Ivan Perisic is the only signing of quality which we have done in the summer. 7 signings, one quality player. It's not backing. It's never backing. Backing is getting him a proper right wing back for his system, a quality left wing back for his system, defenders for his system. Not Eric Dyer and Ben Davis is not what he wants in the system. His system is three at the back, three quality defenders: Chelsea, Lewis, Gary Cahill, Aspilicueta, Victor Moses, and left wing back. I don't remember who was Chelsea's left wing back. Inter Milan, De Vrij, Bastoni, Skriniar, Hakimi, and then Ivan Perisic in left wing back. His system is dependent on wing backs. Victor Moses was quality for them. David Luiz was quality for them. Gary Cahill was quality for them. Aspilicueta was quality for them. Three midfielders: Cesc Fabregas, register. N'Golo Kante. Up front: Eden Hazard, Willian, Pedro. The system, he believed this is backing. Our footballing identity of what playing the 3-4-3 in our system. Washed up Eric Dyer, washed up Ben Davis, Christian Romero, playing us alongside two shit defenders. Emerson Royal, oh my goodness me. And Ivan Perisic, 34-year-old Ivan Perisic, but still good. And it's either Ivan Perisic, or if he doesn't play, it's Ryan Sessegnon. This is this is not backing. Like when people say he's back, as a fan, sit down and see what's happening in this club. It doesn't identify of what you're doing. If your philosophy is not about giving 50 million, 60 million, 40 million, you can't do that in this system. You had Poch before, right? You had Poch before, right? We were doing that system. Why did you sack him? I don't get it. If that's what your philosophy was, rebuilding was your philosophy, why did you sack Poch? So if you sack Poch, you're telling when you got Mourinho, your intent as a board was, it's come to a time where we actually spend on big time players and win cups, right? Like you're told it's right now, like it's the best of right now. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. And sorry to say, right? This club is, if the only hope right now for this club is listen to Conte, back the manager, and give him the players. Financially, we have the money. Don't I can't believe statements by Tottenham Hotspur Football Club and saying that we can't pay wages, we can't pay for big players, we can't pay for this, we can't pay for that, we got all these bullshit excuses for why we can't spend money. Where you have the money to spend for external business activities, for external activities outside the club, but you don't have the money to spend for the footballing team, the footballing identity, right? For the trophies sector. And it's evidently seen, right? You sacked Jose Mourinho 10 days before the final, right? That's when I lost trust in this board, right? I don't give a shit about this board since the ESL happened and Mourinho got sacked. I wanted Levy out. And it's never been that philosophy has never been winning trophies, right? It will never be winning trophies. So all these gimmick activities of getting Conte, we want to win trophies, we want to do this, we are the best team, we are one of the biggest team in Europe, we want to be one of the biggest team in Europe, we want to be one of the best in the world. All this thing is just words, not put into actions. And until Daniel Levy stays over here, people who are saying Enic, he's making a fool of yourself, and you're falling for it. He's making a fool of yourself. And people who are saying Enic in, give me a proper reason why you want him in. Why you want him in. Right? I've given these many things from why I want him out. Why you want him in. That and it's come to a point where some fans are really pissed and want him out. So this is what I want to do. So I want to put on this video because I invest a lot of time watching this club. I invest a lot of time seeing them week in and week out. I invest a lot of time spending on this club week in, not week in and week out, but spending on this club. in terms of finance, in terms of my time, everything. And I want the best. I want to hang a trophy wall where my club and my players are winning trophies, right? This is what I want to do. Not sit down, see us finish fourth, third, second, fifth, sixth, second, third, fourth. I've seen it. I've seen our team go into the CL final. I've seen my team challenge for trophies. I've seen my team playing in cup finals. I've seen my team play my team being runners up in the Champions League and the Premier League, but they never taken the next step to win the league, to win the Champions League, to win the league. And it's not too far away. We have a top quality striker. We have a really good attack. We need with every time we need 4 to 5 players, right? We need 4 to 5 quality players. 4 to 5 quality players to raise the bar of this club. And it's never happened. It's never happened, and it never will happen under this regime, under this footballing team. And as always, I say, right after all this thing, Enic out.